Hello and welcome to The Final Bell, the official Geelong Cats podcast. It is great to have you with us for another week. We are brought to you each week by our friends at Morris, personal finance solutions, expert advice and finance specialists all in one place. Lots to talk about today. We're going to talk AFL, we're going to talk AFLW, talk about the Collingwood game, unfortunately, but we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to look forward to the next 2 weeks in the massive game Saturday night against the Saints. To do all of that with me, and probably to talk about the most important stuff off the top, is Meg McDonald, the once again appointed captain of the AFLW team. Congratulations, Meg. Not that it was ever in doubt, but has been officially announced. Wonderful that you'll be leading the team again.
Yes, Lingy, thank you. Of course, it's as you know, it's an honour each and every time you're selected. But I was saying last week that I feel like increasingly aware of the strengths of the group and of emerging leaders, and how far we've come since I was first appointed captain and how much change we've experienced. So to continue to be asked to represent them's an honour, of course, and I'm really excited.
Can I embarrass you a little bit? You are now the longest serving captain, overtaking Mel?
Yeah, I think I...
Or you were anyway?
I think I'm extending my lead.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I should have done even more research.
To put it not so.
No, good,
modestly.
good. No, that's fantastic. It is something that, as I said, probably when the announcement came out, I was like, oh well, of course.
Thanks,
but
mate.
Then you need to stop and go, well, hang on, it's not just of course, because you need to continue to show quality leadership and taking this group forward. So congratulations and
Thanks,
all the
mate.
best for the season ahead. We're going to talk about the match simulation that you took part in and look forward to the practice match this week in just a second. Let's go to the big one though. Saturday evening.
Evening of the G.
Well, I'm going Saturday evening at Brisbane Stadium.
No, we were Friday night, weren't we? Gosh,
yes.
I've lost it. Sorry, mate.
The Matildas.
Life's busy, but we'll get to that later. Sorry, the Chili's.
We've talked a lot about the Matildas each week. It continues. How good was it? I mean,
Oh my gosh.
mind you, how ridiculously tense and almost awful are penalty shootouts to decide a game.
Oh, it's ridiculous, and I almost lost my voice. So we'd done the match sim, and then as the match sim finished, the game started. Went straight back to my dad's, who's like 2 minutes from Vic Park, where we played.
Well played.
I was on my own for the most of it. Then his wife arrived home, not a football fan. I was giving her absolutely donuts. I'm like sitting on the back of the couch going, I was just in a state. Like, as I've tried to express on this podcast about just watching the Cats, like, I'm in. When I'm supporting, I'm like a passionate, I find it hard to not just lock right in. The superstitions, they just come out. I'm like, okay, I watched this penalty through my hands. After this one, I did a lap of the kitchen. I must also do a lap of the kitchen. I was just like screaming at the telly.
I love and just
done.
appreciate the resilience and the mental strength it takes to not only stand up and over that ball and nail a penalty shot, but Mackenzie Arnold is the goalkeeper.
I know.
For her to have that miss
Yeah.
when she took her own
Yeah.
kick and then to jump back in goals and have to deliver, I mean, that is incredible. Most people would be distraught after you missed your shot at goal, but then you need it straight away.
I know. I've always said when I talk about soccer, but I've always said that I think in a penalty shootout, I'd rather be the goalie. But that's also probably because I'm playing the back line. But to then return from that, and the other challenge that I was listening to later on, and forgive me fans if this is wrong, but I believe that, you know how she stepped off the line?
Yes.
So were she to do that again, she'd get yellow carded.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And if she got yellow carded, she was already on a yellow and then would miss the next game.
Oh.
I think. I'm pretty sure that's what was also happening.
Yeah, no, I think you'd be right.
Just immense. And it's also Courtney Vine, what a moment, like to sink it. But then the three before her that had to score to stay in it, just the legends of the team, like Gorry, Yallop, and then Carpenter. And then when I don't know, I was riding the wave, and mate, and then I get a text message from Nina Morrison after the game. She's like, "Do you want a ticket for Wednesday?" And I was like, sorry, I thought we were joking about that. Do you actually have a ticket? And she's like, "Yeah, mate, I've got 3 tickets."
Are you going Wednesday?
Going tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow late after, I'm getting on a plane.
Straight out of here.
Back.
Oh, that'll be incredible. What
Go
an
the
experience.
Tillies.
Yes. Well, enjoy. Well,
I know.
Imagine it's another penalty shootout and you got to sit there in the
No,
crowd.
well,
with
it's
that
funny that you
tension.
say that because I watched the penalty. I was at the USA Sweden game and I stood there and I said, I couldn't hack this if I was if this is a Tillies game. But you've got to take emotional risks in sport, Lingy.
Yes.
You've got to believe.
Yes, you do. You got to believe, and that moves us nicely to the footy because we believe.
Jake's having a moment with me getting philosophical. Sorry, we believe.
We believe that the Cats are still going to make finals. Unfortunately, it didn't work on Friday night against Collingwood. What I saw from that game, Meg, was some very good football by the Cats. A demonstration, again, I think Chris Scott alluded to it in his post-match press conference. The Cats are still capable of some really good football. Unfortunately, it wasn't sustained through the middle couple of quarters. Yep. And Collingwood, the best team in the competition, they had a gear that they found and played brilliant football and they take the win. What did you take away from Friday night?
Exactly as you said. I think when we're I think our first quarters have been quite good.
Yeah, excellent.
Across the course of the year.
I think as far as quarters one goes, in first quarters we're third.
Are we?
In the competitions.
Okay.
It's a great start.
Great start.
It's probably, and last quarter is actually really good as well. I think it's fifth in the competition for quarters one in the last quarters. Yeah. It's those middle two.
Yeah, I found what was broadly watching the game, you've got a team that you're an opposition that goes all in on their game style no matter what happens. We are generating a wave of run from half back and going forward and I felt early on we met them. I think to a team that presses that hard, you can't just roll back. You press up to match them.
You got to go back through them.
You got to go back through them and I thought we were doing that early and then late we started to win centre clearance. But I thought our footy was dynamic and when you're sort of you're going for not 50-50s but you're backing in corridor kicks or whatever chances and things are turning out well for you. I thought we were pretty good when the ball was live early but we started to not be able to press them and then they got that handball through and then they were away. It's either we're out the back or they're out the back.
Yeah, and when we just didn't quite connect inside forward 50 or across half forward.
Oh my goodness.
They are like, I was describing them on the night I was working there, like the old rubber band cars that you'd make in school for a project where you just wind them up, and then release.
100%.
Off half back, they explode.
Actually, I went to the game with my dad and I turned to him and I said, it's almost like I don't want us to win a centre clearance and only get it to the 50 because they would just score.
Yeah.
Like we had to penetrate deep inside our forward 50 to guarantee it wasn't coming back the other way.
And when we were able to penetrate deep, we scored, which was really good. Jeremy Cameron was incredible, kicked 7 goals. Now, one of those was probably from about the fourth row of the stand, the little handball off Brad Close, and the other one maybe a mark.
Maybe just the third row of the stand.
Yeah. But both incredible kicks, though. Let's not go past that. Probably shouldn't have been included, but the skill to be able to nail, and he looked back to his best movement-wise and was a threat in the air, threat on the ground.
Yeah. I know. I was trying to make the argument that it was a harder shot at goal from where he got the handball received from and where he took the mark from. So just pay it. I was having I really like looking at Maynard as just a bull of a defender. Yeah. Him losing it after that mark was paid was just very entertaining. But yeah, he certainly looked back and when he's snapping, but they've been a bit shallow at times or a bit skinny, and he's just kicking big bombs now. So and the others are finding him. And
with Ollie Henry, 11 goals between them with no Tom Hawkins, a really good sign of that connection they can have together, and that forward line could still have scoring over 100 points for the boys without Tom Hawkins.
Yeah. I know. I mean, they're really dynamic players down there. We've got we've got speed. You've got, I don't know, you've got an All-Australian meeting coming up, but surely Jeremy Cameron was until halfway the outstanding forward in the competition, or one of two. So you got the best of the best down there, and then you've got the promise of someone in his third year, plus someone in their third game in Shannon Neal, who is in good spots. He's probably ruining some missed opportunities to be a hero late in the game, but he's promising as well.
Yeah, he showed plenty, I thought. Again, almost similar to the game he played last year when he got an opportunity. The hardest part as a marking player, a key forward type player, is ending up in the right spot with a good timing of your jump and run to meet the ball at its highest point. That's really difficult. The next bit is you've got to wrap them up.
Yeah.
He was in the right spot, hands to it. Step one, I thought, was excellent. The next bit is that strength through the shoulders and through the arms and through the core when there's a bit of body contact right at the moment you're meeting the footy to wrap that footy up. Now, that'll come as the games progress for him, but the fact that at 203 centimetres he can get himself in great positions to take the ball high is a really good sign. I'll quickly jump to a question for you then. There's a little bit of doubt around Reece Stanley. Yeah. He came off late in the game, didn't go back on. Chris Scott spoke about the fact they'll have to wait and see, and by the time this podcast has come out, we'll probably know more with the health update from the club. If Stanley doesn't get up, my understanding is Johnny Segler and Toby Conway probably not available.
Yeah.
Shannon Neal in the ruck?
I think maybe. I think we probably would have said Sav had not Jack Henry been injured. I think, he's now looking for that tall in the back line. Then again, Jed Buse could come in against a pretty potent at ground level St Kilda.
Yeah,
so
Butler and Higgins and those types.
Yeah, so does Buse come in and Sav plays up. I think they'll probably want to back in. That might be out of necessity, but, Shannon for another game. So, again, haven't answered your question. It's a possibility. What do you reckon?
Against the quality of Rowan Marshall, I feel you're going to need to double up anyway.
Yeah.
Because Marshall is a terrific ruckman, but also a really good athlete around the ground. He plays almost like an on-baller at times. So if it was to be Sav, I'd have Neil up my sleeve. If it was to be Neil, I'd love Sav up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Just in case Marshall, and his influence was huge last week in their win over the Tigers. So could be. Hopefully Reece gets up, and it's
hopefully, because and also our Gary Rowan is, I think, under some doubt. So at least insofar as I don't think he'll be playing ruck this weekend for the Cats.
No, he's been called upon to play in the ruck.
Obviously no blitz. So we've got a couple of challenges which all Cats fans will know without making excuses. No
excuses. Challenges. A bit of a hip groin issue for Gary Rowan. Saw him come off at one stage, get a little bit of treatment, try and loosen it up, then go back and just didn't look right, and obviously came out of the game as well. A bit of good news, though, possibly, is Tom Hawkins. My understanding was he was pretty close for the Collingwood game.
Yeah, okay.
And looking a hell of a lot closer potentially for this week, which would be a big in if that was to happen.
Wouldn't it? Look, I think he's I don't know. How do you think he changes any game. I mean, against the Saints backline, I think he probably poses a pretty. He's domineering. Like his physical size, I think, will pose a few issues for them. Yeah,
well, and it just means that as the dominoes of the opposition defence fall, number one defender might go to Jeremy Cameron. Yep. Instead of number two going to Ollie Henry, it goes to Tom Hawkins, or going to Gary Rowan, it goes to Tom Hawkins, and then they get numbers 3 and 4, and the matchups aren't quite as perfect for St Kilda because it might be a slightly smaller player on a Gary Rowan, a slightly younger player on an Ollie Henry, whatever it might be. It just sways the matchups a little bit, hopefully, to our advantage. Before we look too much ahead from the Friday night game to Saturday night game, quick mention, Paddy Dangerfield and Tom Atkins through the middle of the ground, I just thought were outstanding. In a game where we were beaten pretty convincingly through the middle of the ground, I thought Dangerfield he kept his feet. He looked explosive. He was powering away from stoppages.
Particularly in that last quarter. I mean, however many inside 50s we had, I think they were mostly off the sheer force of his contest work. Yeah,
and I thought Tom Atkins was riding shotgun with him beautifully right throughout the whole game and gave the Cats a chance in the end, an 8-point margin by the end of the game. And can I just clear one thing up? Sorry, quick tangent. Ollie Henry's kick, the last one of the night.
Oh boy, you're testing me here.
So he kicks that. I'm calling it for, I just said it's a point. David Roden, the goal umpire, did the tap to the chest, signalled as though that's a point. And then at the last second, almost through his signalling, his
Yeah.
final signalling, goes, oh, actually, no, it's a goal, and did the 2-finger thing.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if anyone's gone back and looked closely at it. I am certain it was a point.
Do you know, this is so embarrassing to admit, but I'm going to admit it now. I didn't even know that had been called a goal. That makes sense as to why I was like, did we only lose by 8 points?
Yeah.
Because they called that a goal.
That's a goal.
God, sorry, Cats fans. I am a fan.
And
But I watched it and I was like, oh, he's missed it anyway.
yeah, it got lost in the fact it didn't matter to the score.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of other umpiring decisions which got the greater focus. But I'm
We
still
love
certain.
David Roden, though.
I love David.
Boy, especially
David
when he
Roden.
gives us a goal.
Yeah, but I'm still certain Ollie missed that one. And David definitely tapped his chest like they do for it to call it behind.
And
But
he's just gone,
we'll call that one a goal. Give him a little something to.
yeah,
I don't know.
just a little Friday night treat.
Yeah, sorry, quick tangent there.
That,
Heading towards Saturday night, the VFL they got smacked pretty badly by Collingwood, unfortunately. Coming out of that and potential ins, I mean, obviously no one's really nailed an opportunity there when you're beaten pretty convincingly by the Collingwood VFL team. Hawkins, we've mentioned, is a possible in. Cam Guthrie's a watch.
oh, come on.
What are you hearing? You've got your
I'm
always got your ear to the
I'm
ground.
hearing he's the Sam Kerr of the Geelong Football Club. No, I don't know.
No, I like that.
My ear
Mate,
to the ground. I
could
don't
we
know.
see him for 20 minutes or so? Is a sub a possibility?
This is what I'm saying. I don't know. What do you do with in your expert medical opinion, what do you do coming off a long-term foot injury? Do you play VFL? Do you play minutes in AFL?
Knowing Cam, his experience, the incredible medical and fitness team here, he will be super fit and super ready, but nothing can ever replace match fitness and match touch.
But if there's no risk then, it's just a matter of fitness.
Yeah, so do you give him... I would probably rather give him 20 to 30 minutes and potential of a full game if a sub was needed straight away in the ones rather than have him in the twos.
Yeah. Bring him in. My ear to the ground just says that every time we look out, he's in full training and, ready and raring to go. And I'm sure his appetite to, add to the team and get us over the line for finals would be huge.
And he's a smart enough player and you could manage his game time. He could still have an influence if he was forced to come on earlier than you in a perfect world wanted. You could push him to free him up at half back for a little patch of the time where he's not doing quite as much intense running. Mind you, everyone on the ground just runs and runs and runs. Hey, the other one, you mentioned it, you touched on already, Jed Buse is the possibility to come in as well if they reconfigure that back line a little bit. I feel like Busey's needed. And especially with Butler and Higgins and those types being a threat. Mitch Owens as well, who plays a little taller but he's also got that ground level ability. So potentially Jed Buse comes back in. The only one who possibly put his hand up again in the VFL, Sam Menegola. Excellent, had 25 touches, kicked a goal. Just as that experienced player, saying, hey, if you need me, if you need that extra number through the middle of the ground, I'm here. I don't know if they'll necessarily go to him, but...
We're playing under a roof. My skills and my running is silky. Let's just get us in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Sam. I think based on the sort of questions that get sent through each week, I think the fans would like to see him get a run again.
Excellent. We'll get to those questions a little bit later on. We do appreciate everyone asking. A couple of milestones coming up too for this week, which you'll love. Maxi Holmes plays in game number 50. It's funny, isn't it? We expect he's such a good player and we're so excited by him. We expect so much of him.
Yeah.
He's played 49 games. He didn't have
quickly.
Yeah, and he didn't have the world's greatest game on Friday night, but so what? In game number 49, I was thinking back to when I was in game number 30, 35, 40, 45. How many times you fumble a little bit or you're a bit rushed with a kick because you think the whole world's coming at you and there's 80 there. It's a lot to take in. You don't start relaxing and really just understanding the total pace of the game till probably game number 100. Max is only in game number 50 this week. So his best is well and truly ahead of him. 50 games is a terrific milestone though. Also Zach Toohey, Meg, is 150 club games.
Yeah, it's been a great year to celebrate him and all that he's done for the club. So does that That's tips him. I mean,
That's
he's already over half.
Life membership is
Is it?
150. I
There you
think
go.
it is. I think. Well, I'll
Club?
triple check that. I'm pretty sure that's
You
why.
should know that.
That's why they let me hang around for forever, was because I got the 150.
Yeah. So
I just keep trying to hang around regardless, though.
no, I think they'll have you. Sounds like, at least on a podcast.
Which I do appreciate. So a couple of milestones there. Also, hey, while I'm just talking AFL, because I want to move on to some AFLW just before we take a break. Anyone who wants tickets for the Cargie Greaves Medal Night, they are now available. GeelongCats.com.au/experience/events. So on the Geelong Cats website, you can get your tickets for the Cargie Greaves Medal Night. Who have you got leading right now? Question without notice. Jez is leading at the halfway mark, isn't he?
Yeah, surely Brian's up there.
Yeah.
But I
Stewie's
think
got to be charging.
Stewie's probably charging. Yeah, I think it'll be between those.
It'll be a nice close one. So if you want to come along and enjoy the Cargie Greaves Medal Night, it's a terrific night out. Grab your tickets on the Geelong Cats website. AFLW, so you had match sim. Against the Pies. You knocked off the Pies. Forget about the fact it's only called simulation. The fact you knocked off the Pies makes me happy, Meg.
Well, yes, and it's funny that you say that, because I've sort of walked away from the game thinking, gosh, well, was that a bit of a non-event, because they had quite a few players missing. The conditions were average, like it was raining, the ground was chopped up. You play sort of starting midfield for half and they get pulled. But at the end of the day, you still got to get it done.
That's it. There's no such thing as a non-event.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing against black and white stripes.
Especially when you're playing against black and white stripes, and I was feeling the nerves leading in, I'll tell you what. So it felt like an event on the way in, and on the way out I thought, but then also I think there's something in that. There's something in just feeling satisfied and got the job done, and, looking forward to the real deal practice match wise this weekend in Adelaide. So I shouldn't dismiss it. I think that emotion coming off the back of it is a satisfaction and a determination that look, we got it done in the contest. Was it more about our system or just playing some wet weather footy? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Got the run under your belt. You mentioned it. You head to the first official practice match.
The one and only. That's it.
One and only against the Adelaide Crows in preparation for round one against the Doggies at GMHBA Stadium. You're gonna go Saturday. Oh no, you'll probably fly Friday. Fly Friday. Play Saturday. Stay Saturday night.
Yeah, I think there's a curfew at the airport. So
you watch the Cats the men's game Saturday night.
Yes.
Then back Sunday.
Yes.
In time to be home for the World Cup final when the Matildas play.
I know. Here's the thing. We'll see if he listens. It's also it's my dad's birthday on the Sunday, so I've gone back and forth about committing to a lunch with him, and I've said yes. I'll be back in time for the lunch. But the way tickets just keep falling into my lap, Lingy. I don't know. That is the plan. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I've got a 1:00 lunch somewhere in Melbourne, and by 8 p.m.
Wow.
Should be on the couch.
Throw in flights to Sydney midweek. So you're going to the Matildas game tomorrow, plus all of that.
Sounds like
you're very busy.
I'm very busy, but my priorities are sorted, and, as we said last time, life's busy enough without the Tillies just getting the job done. And the boys staying in finals contention and out, and we're building, and it's all happening. But yes, life's busy enough without more life admin. Thank you for that. Let me find my sheet of paper.
That's one of our better segues, I reckon.
No, until I couldn't find the rest of the sentence. Saying to Lingy on the way in, I should have this committed to memory, but that would be a disservice to Morris were I to muck it up in an attempt. Life's busy enough without more life admin, everyone. That's why Morris is now bringing their personal approach to personal finance. Their team is here to help you finance your next lifestyle asset with their free person-to-person service designed to find a finance deal that works best for you. Call Morris today on 1300 4MORRIS or head to morrisfinance.com.au.
If you commit it to memory, it's going to make me look really, really bad. So let's both,
all right.
not commit it to memory.
All right, deal. Deal.
Just stick together. Thank you for that, Meg. We're going to take a break and we'll get to some questions. We've got a few of them there, a couple of little tricky ones. There might even be another mention of the Matildas in there, but we'll get to your questions next. Welcome back. It is great to have you with us on To the Final Bell. We are brought to you by Morris, as we are every single week. We really appreciate their support. It's question time. Before we get to the questions, though, Meg, I do just want to say we were talking AFLW and the fact that there's the practice match coming up this Saturday, but that's all in preparation for round 1 against the Doggies, 5:05 p.m. on Saturday.
That's right.
At GMHBA Stadium. Of course, tickets are now available.
Yeah, Saturday the 2nd of September,
Yes,
so it's
thank
2 weeks after the Pracky. There's one game in between. Obviously, it's for the men's pre-finals bye. The gals are taking over, so it's pretty friendly. I don't know, you've got a local family. Pretty friendly time, 5:05 on a Saturday.
Perfect timing.
Perfect
time. And still get the kids in bed by the time we want them to.
Yeah, that's right. So we'd love to see, honestly, we would love to see, so we'll go with the number 10,000.
I love it.
I mean, that's a huge number to turn up for us. That would be awesome. If we could hit 10,000 memberships, that would be equally awesome. So jump online and sign up as well.
Yes, so both are available, memberships and also tickets for that first game. Get along, support the team and make sure they get off to a good start. No pressure, Meg, but just one from one would be nice. Thank you very
Embrace
much.
it, mate.
Beautiful.
All good. We'll be right.
Excellent. Let's get to some questions from our listeners. Appreciate everyone who does tune in every single week. This one's from Trav. Ollie Henry has 38 goals this year at age 21, along with 4 against the Maggies. Have we, even us Geelong supporters, underrated his season? It's a good return, isn't it? 38 goals.
Return. Recently 21 too. I think he only turned 21 a week or so ago. Really? So he's young. He's a young man. I mean, 38 goals is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the way that he has fitted into a forward line, which is really structured around Tom and Jez, and then the movement of Brad Close and Gary Rowan and Gryan and all of that, to then almost seamlessly fit into that dynamic is really impressive. And
especially when as we've said, we've had ins and outs along the way. So are you second, third, fourth, tall, jumping, staying ground, playing more at a ground level role? And I was thinking about him when you were speaking about Shannon Neal's ability to clunk them earlier. I think we've seen throughout the year, I feel like he's hanging on to more and more contested marks, which is great to see because his athleticism stands him apart. So
it's a good point because I reckon there were 4 more marks earlier on in the year that he could add to his game. I reckon there's 2 more.
Yeah.
I still think he gets himself in great position, jumps at it well, has actually done a lot of work, and then 1 or 2 still just slipped through. To think that he's just turned 21, he'll add those 1 or 2 to his game as well, and that's going to elevate it even more.
And other moments, this is going to sound like I'm accusing him of something earlier in the season, but there was a moment on the weekend where he gave the hands to Jez in the goal square. He could have kicked it himself. I think earlier on in the season we thought, oh, look, he's taken that set shot, he's kicking it, but possibly that handball was on, whereas now I think he's really he sort of knows the Geelong way when it comes to the balance of assists versus taking the job on yourself in front of big sticks.
And when you see his athleticism, you just can't help but start looking a few years down the track and think, oh my goodness, he could be anything, this guy. So Trav, agreed, he's had a terrific season, an outstanding season. Hopefully still got a few more games in him before he's done in season 2023. Certainly 2 more and hopefully a few more after that. Christy asked this question, Meg. You can only watch one player at their best on a given weekend. Is it Dangerfield or Jez? Prime, peak.
Prime. Just for the joyride, maybe Jez, but I think, I don't know, the stuff I love about Danger is that when you just need the games in the balance and he just explodes out of a stoppage, there's nothing more inspiring or sort of
and if you
desperately,
we
need it.
Very, very, very best peak Danger. Almost the first game he played with the Cats against the Hawks. and you're talking 30+ possessions, but you're also talking
Like
multiple goals.
How many
I think
did he
was it
kick?
5 goals he kicked in it, 6 maybe.
Oh, just 6. Whoops.
That and the marking together with
Yeah.
the ground. Yeah, it's hard to go past it. But then again, I just sit and watch Jez sometimes, and I'm almost Paddy's brute power and speed and that explosion you're talking about. Jez is a glide. He's moving, and you think he's just cruising, and then you see that nobody else is running with him, and he's running past people.
Yeah.
You think, oh no, he's flying across the ground. He just looks like he's jogging.
Yeah.
He's almost mesmerising when you watch him.
Yeah, I was listening to someone speak about the generation of players that Buddy Franklin's inspired, and they were sort of saying that obviously very different. Obviously they're different, but a left-footed tall glider in Jeremy Cameron is of a similar kind of, plays with similar freedom and athleticism. And it's funny, like I look at him in the same way as Buddy, and I just think, like, I almost like have to disassociate. Like, it's so beyond the realm of possibility for anyone. I'm looking at Danger and I'm like, that's just, a powerful guy.
Yeah.
Trying just amazing dedication and commitment and grit. Whereas Jez at his best, I think, God, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
So it depends. Do you want something to feel achievable and amazing or otherworldly almost,
And they both are as brave too.
Oh,
Think of the way
yeah.
they attack the contest. It is just total commitment for what they do. We probably haven't answered it that well, Christy. Other than I'll probably err on the side of Dangerfield when I'm thinking absolute peak, but I don't want that to sound like I wouldn't just happily grab my pie and a can of Coke and pay for my ticket to sit front and centre to Jeremy Cameron every single day. But thank you for the question, Christy. Good one to chat about. John poses this one. After the Matildas game, speaking of danger, Patrick Dangerfield floated the idea of shots at goal to decide AFL draws. I think he did it online on social media. What are your thoughts,
Patrick?
So
I heard he was giving some feedback about what number in the order he would be.
Paddy would take that on board well. I'm assuming it would be, say, man on the mark, 30 out, straight in front.
Contentious thing to say. I'd almost have Danger taking it on his left. Like
Left-footer.
sometimes I'm like, he's not bad on the old left peg.
What?
I don't know about a set shot, but
What are your thoughts on the
concept?
The penalty shootout, set shot shootout to the draws? Can I jump in with
I'm not
one
that
thing?
into it. Yeah, sorry, you go.
One thing is, don't forget with soccer, the penalty shootouts only occur when it's a cutthroat knockout.
Yes, they have
tournament
draws
style.
elsewhere.
They have draws. So are we now saying, just in this hypothetical world, the home and away season would still contain draws? It would only be a set shot shootout for the ones that end the season. So the finals.
I'm actually having a blank. What happens after extra time if there's still even in AFL?
The siren doesn't sound in the second term until there is a score. Now, I've gone blank if it's golden goal or point. I think it might be next score.
Oh, my goodness.
The old next score wins.
Just...
But the siren won't sound, and unless players are aware that it's ticked over, they'll still be caught up in the play. Obviously, messages will be getting out there saying the siren will go, the siren won't go. Keep playing. So in that situation, it's next score wins.
Yeah.
Which is just brutal as well.
It's brutal.
We haven't had one of those yet, so I don't think we can quite
compare.
Understand the ride of that. We've had the 2 lots of extra time and the siren hasn't sounded and the ball's in the middle of the ground in a bit of congestion, and everyone in the crowd and everyone watching at home realises, oh my goodness, next score wins this game. It's old schoolyard rules.
There's a famous story, which is not mine to tell, from the Darabin Falcons where I used to play. We'll have to get Daisy on and ask her about it, where they played 45 minutes of extra time against the wind. So they were dominating, but they were playing against the breeze for a golden score.
No.
I won't say what happened at the side, but they won. They won, and I think the relief just poured out in a number of different ways.
I'll tell you what John's just done for me, though, in my other job as commentating on games. I'm going to go and triple, quadruple check that it is golden score, not golden goal. I'm certain. I'm not certain. I'm 99% it's golden score, but I'm going to check that, knowing that my job may require it in September.
It's interesting. It's like, last thought on it. I mean, we have a lot more skills in our game. Sorry, soccer's a very skillful game, but it is a football. That's not what I mean. Sorry. Well, sorry. No, I am a fan.
No, footy fans listening, it's all right.
Oh, I guess they do all. But a set shot, I feel like, is like a narrower, more of a narrower part of our game than a penalty is for football. But now that you can tell in my voice that I'm chickening out of saying that as I say it. Do you know what I mean?
And I think maybe you should chicken out only because the set shot goal kicking art form
should be for everyone.
But should be better as well. It's one that still Tony Lockett's kicking better than a lot of the forwards now. It's something that can decide a game. Long before we went to a set shot shootout,
You're right.
Unfortunately, I experienced it in a certain grand final where
take it back.
Where set shot goal kicking can come down to the most crucial element of the entire game. When all that work, and you're right, 100 different skill sets and everything's going on to be in that final hands of that person, lining it up and kicking that can be the difference between a game being won or lost.
All right, done then. Okay. Final question for you on it.
Yes, Meg.
All right, your last game of your career in that team.
Yep.
Premiership winning team. What number are you?
What number am I?
Yeah, what number penalty taker are you?
Well, my set shot record would suggest I'll be fairly high.
Say it.
No.
It's an important part of captaincy and leadership, Lingy, is to just own it.
I had a fairly uncomplicated set shot routine. Yep. So, and naturally, this is the competitive part of me. You back yourself. You go, I
love this from you.
I would certainly have the ball in the hands of, a Chapman, Bartel. Hang on,
Selwood?
missing.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I had a young Selwood, but he was still very good. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. He was all Australian by then. I'm quickly running through my head. Stevie J, yes, thank you. Oh, and my last game I didn't have him, but if I had him up until 2010, I'd have the hand in Gaz Jr.'s hands as well. Have the ball in the hands of. James Podsiadly, Jakey has just come up with a beauty. J-Pod didn't miss much. I reckon, please don't take this the wrong way, Hawkey. I reckon Hawkey hadn't quite...
How is he going to take this in the right way?
Well, Hawkey has become one of the best set shot kickers in the game. I reckon in his first 4
Hang
to
on, which
5
grand final
years,
did he win for us?
Yeah, but again, he ended up handballing the ball off to Stevie for a while and doing it. Yeah. He hadn't quite understood his set shot kick by then. He bends it the other way to what a normal action. I reckon now he just understands his kicks so superbly.
I have heard that he goes left to right.
Yeah, in the commentary.
I've heard it.
But I'm not sure he'd quite perfected his craft at that stage.
So you're coming in top 10.
I wish I hadn't have even started talking about
top
that.
10.
I've got to go to a reunion. No, I'll put myself down the bottom. I'll be number 22. Let everyone else have a kick.
But if it comes down to it, you have the kick.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I'd love that.
You're the Courtney Vine, right?
I think we got one more question. We went certainly off on tangents there. Thank you, Johnny, for that question. Sandy says, Max Home plays game 50 this week, which we did mention. What do you think his ceiling is? And is there a moment that you remember thinking he was going to be a player? Ceiling? Oh. Ceiling. I think he can be, personally, I think he can be as good as any midfielder in the competition. At game number, is where patience is always, I plead patience. At game number 140, not game number 62, he will show more glimpses, more consistent. He'll add elements to his game in game number 60 and 80 and 100. But at game number 140-ish, I think he can be as good as any midfielder in the entire competition. He's got weapons on the inside, on the outside. His run's there, his skill's there, his understanding's there, his toughness is there. He doesn't rely on the ball being fed to him only. He wins it both ways. I think all those elements together are the types of midfielders I love the best. They can, in any situation, they can be influencing the game.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't have much more to add. Is his... When he's there, what are people saying is his absolute weapon? Is it his explosivity?
Yes, if that is a word, I'll back
We'll
you
go
that
with
it
it.
is. I love it.
Probably explosiveness, but
You are much better with the words than I am, so I'll trust you. His ability to take the ball in congestion and to leave congestion in an attacking way that is either him bursting or him bursting in a way that draws 2 or 3 tacklers and he releases to someone and we're gone from a stoppage on the back of his movement and his power. I think, if you're talking about the absolute peak of the peak in the last few years, clearly Marcus Bontempelli is right now, Christian Petrarca, Dusty in a few years ago. I'm not sure he'll necessarily have that total sort of forward 50 craft like they have. He might add it to his game. I think his will be more the up and down the ground, through the middle, just a supreme midfielder rather than that forward half, for want of a better word, it's all soccer at the moment, striker that Petrarca and Martin have been and are. But I think, he will turn congestion into explosive attack for us in a great way.
maybe he's Dangerfield.
Yeah, well, I think Dangerfield's build is almost 1 in a million.
Okay.
Cripps is the same size but not the same speed. Petrarca's the same size and speed but not the same just ridiculous, I don't know what, like he just power and through people and into people.
So
and
interesting you say that because I look at Max's physique and think, I think I'm like, that's
you reckon?
dangerous.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'm not a sports science, but and the speed, like that kind of athletics background.
Yep.
And if you ask Danger, he just gets, you just get thicker with age. So I've had that chat with him. So
Trust me, once you retire, you get a lot thicker with age, unfortunately, Meg. That's my problem at the moment. I hope so. I hope you're right. But no, I think to answer Sandy's question, I think he can be truly special. Let's hope he continues to work hard. That's the challenge, is he's got to work hard on his game and never stop working hard on his game, which I'm sure he will because he's a quality person. There's been lots of moments where I've thought he was a player. Just the second part of Sandy's question, I reckon even 2 years ago, I was saying to my kids, watch Max Holmes. Like, just watch the way he runs. And I wasn't 100% sure he had the inside game a couple of years ago. Watching him last year was when I got truly pumped. I'm like, he's got inside as well as outside.
Yeah.
So that was the special time.
I watched him at the G against Carlton. I think he kicked 2 goals in a game last year, maybe the year before, early in the season. And I was like, oh, yeah. He's everywhere here.
He's a good one. Yep, absolutely. Thank you for your questions, Sandy. Thank you to everyone who sent their questions in. Please keep them coming every single week. Before we finish up, though, we are brought to you each week by Morris, and we thank them for their support. And for years, Morris has been supporting businesses and the community to generate success together. Now they are bringing their personal approach to personal finance. Cars, boats, caravans, motorbikes, jet skis, they are all about getting you out there living life. Let their team of finance specialists take on the life admin of arranging your finance so you can get on with life. Call Morris today on 1300 4MORRIS or head to morrisfinance.com.au. We better go, Meg. You enjoy your Wednesday night, your trip up to Sydney. So you and Nina, any of the other...
I think Nina's brother, who lives in Sydney, and I think he's putting us up.
Oh, wow. So you got accommodation and tickets.
I know.
Nina's looking after you.
I know. But I'm going to be captain this year, Nina. Why you got to wait time? It's a good pitch you've made.
I've decision making is one of the most crucial elements in football. I reckon Nina brilliant decision maker. Look after the captain.
I actually don't know I don't know if the team know that she's got tickets yet. So breaking news. Sorry, girls, we're heading off. We'll be back for training. Back for training Thursday.
Yes, it's professional development, isn't it? Going up to the
Well,
Matildas
honestly,
game?
I'm not joking. Last time I was like, that's enough. Inspo, to use a too common a word, juice for the whole season. So just filling it up.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, enjoy it. It'll be a wonderful experience. Can't wait to watch it on the TV. And we'll be cheering the Matildas on. We'll also be cheering the Cats on Saturday night at Marvel Stadium against the Saints, 7:25. It'll be a big game. I'm taking a carload up with me. I'm working on the boundary for Channel 7, but I'm also taking up Nicole and my three boys and Henry, two of his mates, because it's his birthday. And all he wanted for his party was, can I go to the Cats Saints game at Marvel Stadium? So Nicole is the one who's been dumped with 5 kids while I'm just relaxing on the boundary watching the game. Hopefully we're watching a Cats victory, a really important one. We didn't say it before, but we all know the maths. We have to win them both. Yeah. Got to win Saturday night and then Saturday night against the Dogs. I've done the ladder predictor about 28 different ways. I keep coming back. It's simply we've got to win them both. Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I saw one coming off, like last week we come off a win and we weren't making it. This week we've come off a loss and I saw one that had us finishing 5th.
I like that. 5th's nice. I work with Brad Johnson on K-Rock in the mornings on a Monday. We were both doing the ladder predictor that many different times to end up with a Cats victory in the last round over his beloved Bulldogs, but in a way that had the Cats and Dogs both making the finals, just so Jono could feel good.
And it happened?
There is a scenario.
There's a way.
Sydney have got to drop both. They've got to lose to Adelaide in Adelaide, and they've got to lose to Melbourne in Sydney, which is not impossible.
Yeah.
That was just to try and cheer Jono up.
Yeah,
because we were fighting over the fact that I was giving the Cats the win in my ladder predictor, and he wanted the Dogs to have the win, so we tried to compromise. Bad luck, Jono.
History says you were right. So.
All right, we'll be back next week celebrating a Cats victory,
all the wins,
a Matildas victory,
a practice game success,
a practice game success in Adelaide for the AFLW. And by the time we do the next podcast, the World Cup final will have taken place.
I know.
Oh, okay. So there's plenty to talk about. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. We'll be back next week. Great to see you again, Meg. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the game tomorrow night.
Thank you.